lovers, it's Michael. We're back in the workshop with Shane Kosteszyn, Moteck Machining cylinder mowers, formerly known. And we're going to talk a little bit about the past, the present, and the future, I think is my intention today. And we're just going to see where the conversation takes us. So, Shane, hello, welcome back to the channel. Always great to chat with you. We've got a selection of gear up here today, including a guitar. What have you been up to? What's been going on in your world, Shane?
Well, first of all, great to have you back, Michael.
Thanks.
It's been a while.
Always a pleasure coming down to Pinjarra in WA here.
Yeah, we've been planning for a little while. Finally, weather was an interruption, but we got there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess everybody's aware nowadays that Moteck has sold.
And if you weren't, Moteck has sold.
Moteck has sold, and we're sitting.
Big news.
Yeah, we're sitting right here where the 6-axis CNC machine used to be.
We are, aren't we?
So that's yeah, different. The shed's a mess, but we'll sort that out and get things in order.
So I was saying to Shane earlier, every time I come down to Pinjarra, there was always some extra piece of gear or equipment in here. It was just getting tighter and tighter to actually shoot stuff. But we've had the luxury of space today to set up for the shoot, and it's quite a different feel in the shop than it has been.
Yeah, it has. It is different. A bit of room to move, Michael, instead of tripping over stuff.
Still a lot going on, but yeah.
Yeah, well, a lot going on because it's a big reorganisation of the shed, really. So yeah, a lot of stuff's going to be moved. I'm putting a wall panel over in the new section where the Bridgeport milling machine still is, and the big workbench. Panelling that off, and that will become my sound studio room, and move a lot of gear that's cluttering up my house in there.
So if you haven't seen the video, Shane and I did a video maybe a year or so back about some of his Eddie Van Halen, I'm not going to call it an obsession, but an obsession.
I would.
I'll link the video, so check it out if you're into the guitars and the amps and the obsession. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Yeah. No, I've got a huge collection of pretty rare stuff that I've collected over the last few decades. And it's just covered up in my house. My cleaning lady does a fruit cake every time she comes there because she's got to clean around it. So it's all going to come out, and I'll have plenty of room. My drum kit will stay in the house. The guitars will stay in the guitar room, but all the other stuff will come out here. I've got a lot of memorabilia, which includes Mower World. So we've got this one here, of course, and then
I love the crossover.
yeah, and I've got the brand new, never been used 10-blade Rover Select, which I'll probably put on display in the room alongside this one, and then maybe, as someone suggested on my Facebook page, we might do a Bumblebee just for something to do one day.
Yeah, I reckon it'll be the requirement to have the pair. But yeah. So let's talk business for a second before we get into the rest of it. So Moteck has sold, and who's it sold to? Moteck
has sold to a company called QA Engineering.
QA Engineering.
Yeah, Quality Assured Engineering. They're based in the industrial area in Pinjarra.
Yes.
Huge, big workshop.
So local.
Massive 2-story workshop.
Yeah, right.
So they have plenty of room. They have a lot of other equipment in there, 2 other CNCs, 4-axis milling machine, and the list goes on. And with the addition of my 2 machines, they've got quite an array of gear. They certainly have a lot more resources available to them than I would have ever had. So the future, looks very bright.
You were always the bottleneck as much as anything, right? In terms of there's only one chain, and you can only pump out so much gear in a given day, right?
Yeah, most definitely. I used to. It used to bug me when people would contact me, and not all the time, but every now and again. I had one the other day actually. As my last of my orders, I'm still tidying up.
When's it coming? When's it coming?
Yeah, I haven't received my item yet. Can you give me tracking? So I sent the guy tracking for his 14-inch reel, and that was 2 or 3 weeks under construction, if you like. So yeah, you did right. I was always the bottleneck. I was always
And the materials and everything else, of course, but
yeah,
I'm just joking.
I mean, I'd go from the workbench to the coal chester to the Bridgeport, then over to the 6-axis machine, and then the Cincinnati, and you're just going from one to the other. And
Yep.
you know, you've got to fabricate something or machine something before you can fabricate it, and
Yeah.
then you get stuck into that. And next minute alert comes up on the CNC that you know there's 30 seconds remaining, and it was pretty hectic. I mean, I was in this workshop for 5 years, 10 hours a day, as you well know. 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for 5 years.
Yeah, and I think it's it's evident in all of the stuff that you've cranked out. I'll use the word hesitantly, but the quality and the designs and everything that you put together. It sort of takes time and energy, doesn't it?
It does, and the good thing about it is that's likely still to continue. Wayne's very keen to push ahead with the brand new machine, production wise. But it'll take a little bit of time. It's new to them.
Yeah.
So
they're going to ramp up and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time now, so it's difficult to get a handle on something you've not done before.
Yeah.
So
you have officially retired, but you're
yes.
still going to be contributing your wisdom and knowledge back into QA.
Yeah.
In terms of the transition and potentially beyond, to make sure that stuff's still going out.
Yeah, well, it's important to me, Michael, at Moteck.
To your standards, should I say?
Yeah, I mean, Wayne's an engineer, qualified engineer, so is Frank. So you've got two qualified people.
Yeah.
It's just the way I do things is different to other people. I spend more time on stuff than I probably ever should have.
Yeah.
It wasn't about making money to me. One has to do that, of course, it's the only source of income. However, it was to produce a product better than anyone else's.
You can put your name to it.
Yeah, put my name to it, and Moteck has stuck. Moteck has, they've bought the name and the rights to the name and all the intellectual property that goes along with that. And they wanted that because they, not being in this industry, became aware when they researched, the wide reach and audience that Moteck actually has. So the name was important to them.
Yeah.
My time's coming to an end.
You're not that old, but
not in that sense, but my time's coming to an end.
Start digging your grave out in the garden or something already.
Not yet. But in terms of working and doing this stuff, it started to get a little bit too much. I bought a brand new caravan, brand new 4-wheel drive, and it's time for me to go and do other things. But
gotta live your best life.
You gotta live your best life, but keeping out of the shed is very, very difficult.
I'm sure.
So it'll continue, but I'm looking forward to acting as a consultant for the new guys, particularly in the production of the new machine, because I will probably make them in here.
Yeah.
I've got enough gear in here to, while they might do the machining and what have you on their premises, I'll put the prototype more than likely together here in its entirety, where we'll test it, change it, do whatever we need to do until we feel it's ready for production, and then we'll put it out there and see what happens.
So let's talk about this new machine. What is this new machine? I don't know if everyone who's watching is maybe across exactly what that entails. Walk us through it.
Well, the new machine will be obviously 100% brand new, and it'll have to comply to all the today's standards and what have you, like covers over here, and we've got all that in hand. But I will combine the best of the solid deck and twin rail together to produce one machine that's unique. So it's basically not a Scott Bonnar. Is it a copy of a Scott Bonnar? Yes, it is. But it won't be a Scott Bonnar.
So it's modelled after the 45?
It's modelled after the 45 solid deck.
And taking the best of the solids, best of the twin rails, putting it together into something unique that is the Moteck 45 or whatever you're going to call it, right?
Yeah, and it'll be all new, 100% brand new. It has to have a warranty, all that sort of stuff. But it'll be a totally unique machine. It won't be a twin rail as we know it. It won't be a solid deck. It'll be a combination of both and other ideas, not just Scott Bonnar. To produce a 17 triple and a 20 triple roller being optional on both. And then we'll put it out there. We'll go stainless with a lot of stuff like the deflectors that I do. There'll be optional reels, 8 and 10 blade.
So that's been a thing. Like we've talked about this quite a lot in the past in terms of the the copy versus the innovative side of things, and a brass thrust pad is always going to be a brass thrust pad at the end of the day. And you make and sell those, or you have previously. But a lot of the other stuff, you have sort of applied your mechanical and engineering ability to rethink aspects of those parts, so that part is still functional in its original intended design. It's a copy, but it's also an enhanced copy as well, right? It's an improved copy.
Yeah, well, it comes down just to the billet rollers that I do.
Different materials.
It's different material. It's all billet steel. It's
tighter tolerances in terms of the manufacturing process.
Absolutely, they're brand new. It's a copy of the original, almost exactly a copy of the original, right down to the correct hole size. There's a correct taper in here.
You've always tried to maintain the
originality,
spirit, right, of the 45 or whatever it is.
Yeah, but by the same token, you're wasting your time, in my view, of copying a poor design. So there's some things like the my billet reel holders in there that are unique to this machine. I only made 10 of those. This is the last pair, and I kept them for display here. Now I don't need to display them, so I'll put them in this machine. But I didn't copy a poor design. I started from scratch.
Because it's kind of pointless to copy.
It is. It doesn't matter whether you make it out of better material. It's irrelevant.
Might as well just get the GA spares version, right?
Use them and hope like Christ they don't break. But with the rollers, a little bit different because they were cast and very thin. So we've gone up in the wall thickness, which makes them heavier. We can adjust the wall thickness to make the roller heavier. So if someone feels they want another 2 kilos in the back end of their mower, that can be accommodated. The rear rolls are a classic example of something that I've taken. It looks original on the outside in every aspect, almost every aspect.
Swap out the originals, put these in, without any changes to your machine.
Absolutely, and that goes the same with the billet rear bearing housings over here. It's the same thing. We had tin ones, and other people had made different ones and what have you. I came out with those ones. They've been copied by other people now, but they're not like that. They're just an upgrade, and we'll incorporate all those things plus more into the new machine. And I've still got a multitude of ideas in here that I want to incorporate. I fabricated the reverse rover style handle on this one here, and down to the steel clutch cone. But there'll be many more improvements as we go down the road. I've got lots of things. I want to throw, one of the first things I want to do is throw that plastic throttle control away.
You've talked about that actually. This is the thing, every time I come down to visit Shane, there's always something new that's fallen out of his head that has been realized in the in the material, in the flesh, and it's like, oh wow, he's done it. And then there's still stuff rattling around in that head of his. And
it's all on one bloody brand and one model of lawnmower. Just imagine if you took on the whole deal,
the whole fleet, whatever.
It would get out of control. But I want to throw that away and go to something totally different there. I won't disclose that at the moment. But we've done handlebars, on the Honda fan, so the new machine will be equipped with a Honda. There'll be no option. There'll be no cheaper crap Chinese option. Not that Hondas are probably still made in China too, but you've only got to start one of the other ones and start a Honda and run it, and you know the difference.
And sorry to interrupt you, but this will be fully assembled and sold. Fully assembled. It's not a kit.
No,
not a kit option.
No. It'll be you'll walk into the store, and alongside your Chinese knockoff Super Swifts and what have you will be one of these machines. But you will pay a premium price for a premium product. And
fair enough. If you have the money to spend, if you want to spend it on that, right?
If you've got $2,000 you want to buy a Super Swift, you go buy one. And happy days if that's what you want to do.
And for some people that's a mower, for some people that's a car, for some people that's something else, or a guitar maybe, whatever it is.
And you can you can go to the premium option. We've got to make them competitive, and I believe the only competitor for this new machine will be Mowmaster.
Yeah.
So we've got to price them around.
Which is
the Mowmaster.
a commercial machine.
Oh, you've got residential. You've got I reckon they're more commercial based, but they do the residential range.
Yeah.
And look, I've never used one, so I'm not really qualified to comment too much on them. But I just look at the engineering and the build of them, and they're fairly agricultural. There's not a TIG weld anywhere; it's all MIG welded.
Yeah.
And all that's okay. I TIG weld everything and use a MIG. Very sparingly, only where it's 100% necessary. But we've got to, all in all, I believe, we'll have an equal or better product at around the same sort of money. So it'll follow the Scott Bonnar tradition of what we see, simple clutch operation. And I'm looking at the different ways to operate the clutch other than this.
Well, what I was going to say was, I think the comment that I'll often see is, well, it's just a lawnmower. So why bother? But I think, if we look at one of the original Scott Bonnars, especially the Solids, but the twins as well, or the unicorns, they're all they're special in their own way, right?
Yeah.
And that's I think, you're not just building a lawnmower, you're building something that's going to hopefully last a really long time into the future, right?
Well, it is. It's a bit like a GTHA Falcon. This guitar, it's basically an EVH copy of the 5150. It's not the real thing. It's endorsed and made by I think Gibson. In a separate section of the workshop, endorsed, and I think that section is actually owned by Eddie Van Halen. So that's where these sort of guitars. So it's the same sort of thing. People are. You've got no idea if you start researching these. You've got no idea what people are doing over in America and exporting them all over the world. No different from our mower. Our mower's our iconic thing, but not cheap. You want to build something like this from scratch, triple roller. All the bells and whistles, 100% brand new, from billet sole plates to everything.
It's not cheap.
No, you're looking at, for something like this, you're looking at 10, comfortably 10 grand.
And it doesn't matter where you source your parts from, or even if you make them yourself, it's...
there's
a cost.
There's a cost. And I've sold mowers equal to this. $12,000. Sold quite a few.
So you're hanging on to this one. This
is my baby. It'll go in. I was going to use it. I was going to use it. I put the triple roller on it because it does turn like a little 14. It's real nippy. It's great.
It's nimble, is it?
Yeah, and I thought when I'm back up against my limestone wall, that'll be great. But it's sort of. I think it'll complement my room. Look, do I really need to use it? No, I don't. It's got my 11 blade drill on it.
So is someone going to come along in 20, 30 years and find this thing and think,
what the hell's in it?
What the hell's that? But this is really cool. It's never touched grass, or is it going to? Is it gonna have a maiden run and then you're gonna put it on the shelf?
No.
No.
No, it won't get oil.
How dare I even suggest such a thing?
It'll be exactly like my Select 10 blade that's brand new, that's never been used and run and started. That I may sell one day. Someone wants to pay enough money for it, but this one here, because I'm not a theme person. You've never seen me build a theme mower.
You're right.
Like for myself, I do it for other people. I've never had the inclination to do that. It wasn't my thing.
I guess I'm thinking about, what was it, the superhero one that we did, the fluoro one that you did.
The Iron Man.
There's a video as well if you want to watch.
But see, they were for customers. That's what they wanted. So that's what we did. But this one here, I decided to theme to go with the 5150. As most people know, Eddie Van Halen passed several years ago, so there's a lot of mystique about him and Watt and this guitar and the 1984 and it just goes on and on. There's some guys over in America, I was talking to one the other day, that they're sourcing the exact body wood, and they've taken copies of the real thing, and like they're producing really accurate reproductions, just like we sort of are with these.
Yeah.
And like they're not cheap. They're thousands and thousands. But yeah, I decided to go with the theme. I'm not one to do. Yeah, it was very easy for me to do a Van Halen. The Bumblebee, yellow and black would be great, just to complement this. But the intention was to use it, Michael. It's going into the new room, and that's where it'll stay with the Select 10, brand new one. Unless someone comes on and buys that. This is not for sale, and you know I'll keep it. I've got some other little memorabilia bits and pieces of mower world, but other than that, I've got room full of memorabilia stuff I collected over years from Van Halen.
A little side question. So crossovers between music, guitars, and mowers is probably, doesn't make sense to everyone. It does to Shane because those are his, interest areas, and all fine, well and dandy. We see some pretty, funky, unique mowers in our travels, and that's everyone's sort of individual take on it. It's kind of like a hot rod, I guess, to my mind. What's the, without the engine aspects, of course, but in terms of the rest of it, what's the, to you, Shane, what's the difference between something like this and like an honest, I use the word honest loosely, but like a full restoration, a full, taking it back to the original color scheme, making, using the original parts and stuff like that. That's different to what you've done in this case.
Yeah.
And it's probably different to what you do in terms of, all your individual parts. They're true in spirit to the originals, but they're enhanced, so they're not, they're not the same. Yeah. What's your view of it?
My interpretation of what you were asking, Michael, is this machine over here, I deem as a rebuild.
A rebuild, yeah.
It's not a restoration. No. It's a rebuild of an original machine. Now, in having said that, it has new stainless bars. It has a brand new frame, and so it goes on. But it still uses the original clutch. This one is all different. Down to the original sprockets. These are all new. That is to me a rebuild. This is a brand new machine. The next step for that machine is a restoration, where you get the same handlebars frame, but you get a brand new side cover, where that's an original side cover, panel beaded and tidied up and what have you. So
you've done a good job on that.
Yeah, I mean, come up good. Yeah. It's got the original roller in it, refurbished, of course. So that is a rebuild. You've taken a machine, you've stripped it, you've chucked out all the rubbish, and you've rebuilt it using new parts that are available, or for money constraints, you've used an old side cover and panel beaded it rather than buy a new one, and so on.
Yep.
So that's a rebuild. A restoration is when you take that mower and it gets new sprockets, it gets a new side cover, it gets 95% is brand new. 75% of that machine is brand new, right? 90% to me and above represents a restoration, and then you get, it's not even in the same league as a brand new machine.
Yeah.
Where everything's brand new.
Yeah.
Everything's brand new.
Yeah.
There's no old parts on it whatsoever.
Yeah.
So this machine, then, in my view, once again, isn't a Scott Bonnar, because it's brand new. There's nothing on it that's Scott Bonnar. Is it a copy? Yes, it is. Right down to the catcher. That catcher is a brand new, old stock.
I was going to say, let's talk about this catcher, because this catcher is kind of one of a kind, I reckon. But what's the story on that one, Shane?
Well, I was on Marketplace one day years ago, and looking around for mowers, as I was back in those days.
You've had this for a while, haven't you?
Oh, years.
Oh, right. I thought this was a recent acquisition.
Oh, no. I've had
Sorry,
it for years.
carry on.
And what happened is I saw this advert for a plastic catcher for a Scott Bonnar lawnmower. So I went, there was no other description. I went, okay, the only mower with a plastic catcher is a Diplomat or a 590. So I responded to the ad. The guy was sort of local, in the city of Mandurah. And I rang him up and he said, yeah, I got this plastic catcher, mate. I'm going to chuck it out or put it on marketplace. And what do you reckon it's worth? I want $50 for it. And I said, I'll come and get it. So off I went. And then I got talking to this fella and I said, so tell me the story. He said, I bought one of those new mowers years ago. And he said, so I bought a new plastic catcher spare.
So he bought a Diplomat?
He bought a Diplomat.
Bought a second catcher for it?
Yeah, 430 Diplomat and bought a spare catcher at the same time, which made sense. Probably worth nothing back in those days.
Sensible decision.
Yeah, probably late 80s, wasn't it? Yeah. And he said, so I didn't like it. So he said, I sold it. And I kept the catcher, the new catcher, and he said, I bought one of those other ones with a catcher in the front. And he said, so I bought a brand new one of them, and I bought a spare catcher with that. And he said, it's over there in the box. And I went over and I went, you want to sell that? And he said, yeah, what's it worth? I said, $150 for two of them. Yeah, right, mate, no worries. So I ended up with this brand new, old stock, in this original Scott Bonnar box, catcher, complete with factory dents and all the stuff that comes in a factory catcher. Yeah. And I just put it aside for a project for another day. So that's how that came about. So that married with this brand new machine. It kept it Scott Bonnar, I suppose, but at the end of the day, you would buy,
Put a new catcher.
Yeah, you buy one of Jason's nice new catchers.
Yeah, we were talking about the build quality on these.
Oh yeah, they're just
stuff as well. And I was like, oh, it looks like it's actually pretty well made compared to the ones that we normally see that are full of rust and whatever else. But the closer you look, maybe the newer ones are actually a lot nicer.
The Needham ones we buy over here are really good.
Yeah,
they just aren't accurate.
Yeah,
where Jason's aren't accurate, but they're the most accurate one available.
Yeah.
And they're just not accurate in the nose profile, like on this.
But they're beautifully made.
Oh, they're
like
far better.
Catcher.
Absolutely, far better. And they're heavier. They're just this machine would, if you were using it, would complement one of his catchers without a word of a lie. But this was there, so it goes on there. But assuming that
it's an interesting story though, just the way it
is. Assuming that wasn't available, I would have bought one off Jason and stuck it on here, and that makes it a brand new machine. So that's the way I break machines down. I think I put a post on my Facebook page and confused many people because I sort of said something like, "Don't quote me, I can't remember what I did," and wrote back then, up to say. $5,500, $6,000 is a rebuild. That's what it is, rebuild. What you put into that mower is up to you what you rebuild. I just don't mess with handlebars. Someone brings a mower, he gets a new set of bars. Same as a frame.
As opposed to refurbishing an old set of
I don't patch frames. We've spoken about that many times.
We've got some other videos on that one, so go check those out. They're fascinating videos.
If people continue to do that, it's just false economy. Anyway, so the basis for my rebuild is brand new frame, brand new set of handlebars, and then we'll look at everything that goes around.
It's always been that platform, really, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Sort of build up from, I suppose.
So the average price of something like that, it ends up $5,500 to $6,000. When you go into a full restoration, that gets it up.
Throwing the rollers and a reel.
Yeah, the ones that I've done that have been, brand new triple rollers, all that sort of stuff, start getting up like this to the $10,000 mark. Yeah. So the difference there will be, you can just go buy a brand new one. But it won't be.
And that's really where that conversation sort of crosses over a bit, doesn't it?
Well, it does, because...
Do I rebuild or just buy new with a warranty? And
yeah, exactly. Many of the other ones I've done still have the original sole plate. So, to me, if it's got an original part in there from 40 years ago, it's a Scott Bonnar. The whole mower is a Scott Bonnar. Take that part out and put a brand new billet sole plate in there. This is just a standard sole plate. And then it's 100% brand new.
Yeah.
That's why I've always said, my restorations are 98% new, because that last 2% is that sole plate that we reuse. And others I've built have got a brand new sole plate in them. They're really 100% brand new machine. But you know, stuff like we might reuse that lever, which I could have on this one, and had the lever out here.
Handlebar cover.
Handlebar cover, they're available now new. So this here, I just decided to make it rover style, and have it out. I like it out the back rather than leaving it out.
It's convenient.
Yeah. So that's the way I break it down. Other people have got other ideas, and that's fine.
Yeah, everyone's entitled to their own point of view, and you do your thing, and that's...
Where it gets annoying for me is people, you know, in my view only, they quote a restoration, full restoration. I've had some full restorations down here that have ended up in the skip bin. That first Iron Man solid deck I did was a classic example of that. You know, and that's where the flippers out there and the people doing the wrong thing, you know, get all messing up everybody else. You know? It's one of those things. But you get that in every industry. There'll be plenty of people making these and saying, it's you know, the original wood quality or type, but it's not. You know, and they'll pass it off as oh yeah, it is, but it's not. Same as the neck. You know, it's just the same for guitars as it is for these.
So before we started this video, I said let's talk about legacy, Shane. So let's talk about legacy now.
Okay.
You got some other odds and ends up here. What's
I think the you know, the biggest thing for me, I think that I wouldn't say leave behind, but that was my contribution to the Scott Bonnar world was I was the first, and I think still the only one, to produce a brand new frame. I went through the re-railing, I went through what other people are doing, and it's a disservice to their customers.
So the re-railing,
to go down
people are cutting off rail frames.
Cutting off rails into side plates crack.
Yeah.
And it goes on. You know, engineering 101.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't put new steel on 40-year-old fatigue steel and weld over another weld that you just ground off. It's still the weld, still there. You just ground it off. You know, so you know, so the frames are one thing that I'm quite proud of the fact that I went down that road and produced that. Now, one thing you might not know this, right? I've had this frame for years. I've been going to build this mower for a long time.
Yeah, I didn't know you'd been hanging on to it for that long.
That's frame number 500.
Is it really?
Number 500, brand new frame.
I didn't realise you'd made that many frames. That's pretty cool.
That's number 500, and when I got to that, I put it at the side and went, that means nothing at the moment. So then when it became the 5150, the 500th frame, now this was years ago. I've probably built, I don't know, I'd have to go and check my record, I've probably built another 100, 150 frames after this.
Have you numbered them along the way?
I did, yeah, not. Like I should have numbered.
Stamped them or something?
No, I should have done. I did that to the very first ones. To be honest with you, and I started a ledger, but then I forgot to stamp one. And I went, oh, it's already gone. Can't do it now. So then it sort of went. Well, now that's blown the whole deal. So I stopped doing it. I kept the ledger going.
That's gonna be a real collector's item one day. If you kept
I know. I've stamped this one with 5150.
Right.
But also where I get all my materials from, they can go into their system and back that up.
Right.
And I wasn't sure about the 500, but I did that and backed it up with how many rails I bought, side plates, and so on and so forth.
Yep.
So you can work it out. But that's frame number 500. That's a little bit unique.
Yeah.
And the other part of my legacy, something.
I was going to say, so that's the frames. That's one part of the story, but there's more, isn't there?
Oh yeah, I mean,
there's a lot more.
The next thing that I probably did was the rear billet housings. These are two of the same side. Obviously, the other side has got no slots and 3 holes. And this was something that look, other people mess with them, but I think this is by far the best out there because these are threaded. The other side threaded. You only got bolt nut here. They're much easier to deal with. They look quite nice.
They do.
And they're made what I believe is correct. And we've been down this road with how the rear roller goes together with that stupid spring and all that rubbish. These are done properly. Anybody in the mining industry, like I was for many years, that have dealt with conveyors and big pulleys and all that sort of stuff, will realise there is a captive and a floating end to these huge deals. Now, these are exactly the same, except Scott Bonnar got very confused with how to do it with a rear roller and set it up. Now, was it an issue? God, they went 40 years. You know, no big deal.
Served its purpose, I guess.
Yeah, but take a look at your reel. This is the best example of that.
Yeah.
Take a look at your reel. This side here is captive.
Yeah.
Right? It's got the shoulder in the housing,
Yeah.
and the bearing, the whole thing's clamped together.
Mm-hmm.
What happens to the other side?
You get a little.
It just sits in. It sits in the housing, and there's nothing holding that bearing from going that way. Maybe a piece of sponge, and we don't use anymore. So that's the floating side, and that's made like that for expansion of the reel. So if the reel gets hot, you tighten it up like my dad used to do. He tightened that just as down till the motor would only go half throttle and there's almost smoke coming off it. The reel gets red hot. It's got to expand, and that is correct. When they did the rear roller, someone got confused or tried something different. What I did was incorporate how it should be done into these bearing housings. So on one side bearing housing, we are, and it's this side here. No, sorry, the other side. With this side, which is the captive side. So that's captive. So the bearing is basically flush with that housing. When you put the sprocket on, lock it all up, it locks that bearing to the deal, and it's captive. Right?
So the other side, the frame and the housing.
The other side, there's a gap. There's not very much. There's a gap. The bearing sits down. So basically, the two housings are made differently, and the bearing steps down or is rebated down to allow for that bearing to expand. Now, this one, the bearing is a interference fit. The other side is clearance. Right, so that's how it's supposed to work. But how Scott Bonnar, and the intriguing part about it, all the people that copied mine have no clue, absolutely no clue, that those little differences are there. So I had someone bring me a pair of someone else's, and they brought them and said, these don't work. The roller locks up, and it just, can I have some of yours? You know, and I said, but why don't you're not going to fix the problem with somebody that doesn't know what they're doing when they made them, right? You're not going to fix that problem unless you just discard them, throw them in the bin, take some of mine. I know mine work, so yes, there's mine, right? And you take them away, but go back to the person that made them and tell them what you think of their product. And that's the way that you weed out the so-called engineers out there. You know, it's crazy that when people copy stuff, they've got no idea what they're actually copying and how it's been engineered and how it's supposed to work. Scott Bonnar got away with it with that spring. They put that spring in there and then what happens when you put the spring in there and do it up? It compresses the thing flat anyway.
So, that's kind of pointless, isn't it?
It is.
I think that's one of the interesting things. Like, we're talking about this sort of copy and duplication. I always use the brass pad as an example, and that's like the dumbest part on this machine, right? But then you look at something like that, and it's like, well, this is equally dumb, but
it's not.
It's not, because there are some considerations that have been put into the engineering of it all to make it work, you know, the way it does as a system. So.
There's a much better way to do this. This is very agricultural. There's a much better way to do this, and that's on the drawing board. I just have these hairy-fairy ideas. I write them down and start doing a few sketches, whatever. And this is one of those things that are in my head, the same as the clutch cone and that stupid key. That's going to go with the new machine. So there's no wear factor there, like, you know, doing ourselves a bad disservice here, because you won't be supplying many spare parts, but that's not what it's about to me.
That's always intrigued me, this section, because the rest of the it's a simple machine. But just the bare simplicity of the way that clutch cone slides back and forth over that key, and just the issues that we encounter with slop and stuff and everything else.
It's only got one key that does the work, and the problem with it is people complain quite often that when they engage this, they get the clunk. And the clunk is everything being taken up in the wear factor.
You have to do it slowly, don't you?
Slowly you can get away with it, And
low revs.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a better way to do all that.
Yeah.
And, I've taken the clutch and made that different, and that's still in the prototype stages. So the clutch my new clutch that was on here, is now off.
Yeah.
Because I finished testing that. So now we'll put that into production. So that'll go back on this machine at some point.
Yeah.
The reduction gear was another thing.
So that's the other thing. We don't have the side off this thing, but there's the reduction gear happening in here. What is that? What does it do?
Well, just to finish up on the legacy.
We haven't. Sorry. I was just going to say we haven't spoken about this in previous videos, so we'll do that in a minute.
Yeah. The other thing is, and one of the big issues with these.
Yes, of course.
They've never been put into production by someone.
I never thought we'd see the day. Like,
they've been made by others.
There has been, I don't know what to say, false starts, but sort of whisperings of these things coming into existence over the years. I'm not sure they ever got really put into like a full production. Did they?
No, not into production. They did.
There was maybe a few.
Look, young fella, I spoke to him. I think he's over in Queensland.
Yeah.
He made them, right, and he did a great job. They looked great.
Yeah.
A few little areas that weren't accurate, but that was probably beside the point.
Yeah.
But they looked really great. And back in that day, it was like on one of his posts on the SBR page is here are these looking for people's reaction and to put them into production. So everybody wanted them, right? But they didn't go into production, I believe, in a conversation I had later with him, because everybody wanted them, no one wanted to pay for it.
Right, yeah, because they're not cheap.
No.
There's a lot of metal, if nothing else.
They ended up on the floor, in the bin.
Plus the time and...
Yeah, I did these on 2 machines.
Yeah.
Right, so I would do the base heavy work on the Cincinnati, and then do the lighter grooving and what have you on the 6-axis machine.
Yeah.
They had C axes with index and do each groove, where the Cincinnati couldn't do that. So I had to use the 2 machines, which became quite time consuming. Not that I factored that into the cost, I believe that that's what they were worth. The only way that one can make them cheaper, right, is to make a multitude of them. And that's the beauty and the art of CNC machining. When I had my 2 CNCs, every other day someone would ring me up and say, can I come round and show you this, can you make me one of those? No, I can't.
So yeah, is the setup cost and the programming and everything else.
When you tell them that, they go, oh, that's a $5 part. Well, you go buy it for $5 because I can't make it for that sort of money. So that's an issue with CNC machining. And not an issue, that's the way it works.
Yeah.
So to do rollers, the more you do, right, the cheaper they're going to get. But when I took this on, because I can't remember the young guy's name, but he didn't get a positive enough response, obviously, to put him into production.
Was it Mitchell?
Mitchell Pollock.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, nice young bloke.
Yeah.
Spoke to him on the phone.
Yeah.
And when I put these out, I think he contacted me and said, oh, look, good luck with them. I wasn't successful in getting enough orders to justify it, And I said, well, I've got 10 people who want them, but I reckon 2 people will end up with them. And that's about what happened. Everybody wanted them, no one wanted to pay the price.
Yep.
And the only way you can make them cheaper is you need 100 people to want them and 100 people to commit to them, then they'll come down half price or less, and then they become achievable.
Yep.
So we'll get to that. Well, we'll get to that spot with the new machine.
Yeah.
Because if the new machine goes into production, we'll rattle off 100 of those, or whatever is deemed, that we need, and that'll bring the cost of that down. But whether the new guys, Wayne and Frank, can look at it in 2 ways. They can go ahead, full steam ahead with the brand new machine and support it with parts, but not sell those parts to other people, for their Scott Bonnar 45. Well, that might fit.
That's interesting.
And work. So that's an avenue that they'll have to look at and see whether they go down that road. Use these parts to service only the new machines, or sell the parts to anybody who wants to buy the parts. And that's probably what they'll do. But the same goes with handlebars. See, there was a stop-start on the handlebars. Someone tried to make them and they got blasted on social media about them and the quality of them, which I think was really, really wrong. Because what that person should have done was rang that person they bought them off and said, I'm not happy with these. You know, can you do better, or I'd like my money back. And I'm sure those people would have taken that on board and dealt with it correctly. Not plaster all over social media and say, quite innocently I might add, but hey, people, what do you reckon about this world? Does this look any good? Well, you know, that's not what you should be doing. If you've got a problem, take it up with where you bought it from. Not plaster on social media.
I think we did make a video. I think it was entitled "eBay Fakes" or something like that. So we're probably not completely innocent here in that saga, are we?
No. Look, we're not.
You were selling, you know, spruiking your handlebars, of course, though as well. So slightly different angle, but
I was the first to do stainless bars. Now every man his dog does them. You know, and that's one thing. That's my legacy with that I leave behind as the owner and founder and owner of Moteck was I did the hard things and I did them first. So hard things to do, did them first. And other people are making them now. I don't like them. I don't like the way they've done them, but that's not up to me. They're cheaper than mine, and good luck to them. I don't care. But I was the first to do frames. You know, not the first to do these, but the first to put them into production and make them available to the
which counts for a lot.
Well, I believe first to do the rear bearing housings and put them into production, and other stuff we run along and copy, because, like you say, there's a thrust washer that's always going to be a thrust washer, and to put it in the confines of all that, it's pretty much got to be that. They can make that of brass, aluminium, steel, plastic, whatever you want. Just tell the machine what you want and change the feeds and speeds and what have you, and material, all that sort of stuff, and you can make it out of whatever you want to make it out of. You know, I had thoughts of making it out of titanium actually. And I've got a bit of titanium. I was going to try that, but there's a better way to do all that. So I wasn't going to spend any time.
It doesn't surprise me that you've sort of put some thought into redesigning that entire area.
I wasn't going to spend any time reinventing the brass thrust washer. My time's better spent in how can you throw that away and make that a better deal. And that's what.
So you make in the set you have made and sold them because there's the demand for them, obviously.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean that, you know, there aren't thoughts rattling around in your head to improve the whole thing. And it's a dumb thrust washer at the moment, but the future may look different, right?
Well, I can't remember how many of them that I've made, because
I've made a lot of them.
Well, out of a bit of material, I think you get quite a few. But how I do keep tabs on them is how many of the thrust washers I buy. So I buy them by packets of 200.
The fibre washers.
I buy them by packets of 200. So I've bought 3 packets. So 600. And I'd say others have sold many, many more than that. You know, but at the end of the day, there are some stuff that will copy, but I'm not. I'm guilty of copying not what someone else has done. These were on the unicorns. So, you know, as we all did, copy Scott Bonnar. So I didn't copy someone else's interpretation of that. I copied that off a unicorn.
Off the original.
So same as these, you know, all that sort of stuff. So it's just, it's 6 one after the other at the end of the day, but there's so much more to do on this machine. So much more to do.
Well, let's put that to one side for a minute and talk reels, and then maybe we'll finish up. But
that's a contentious issue.
Yes, end to end probably. We made another video if you want to watch it around how Shane actually makes these things, which is we were just talking about that this morning in terms of how intriguing people have found that particular video over the years. So suggest you go watch that one if you're at all interested. But obviously one of the contentious issues is the sharpening of your reels. But I'll hand it over to you, Shane. What do you want to talk about with regards to reels?
Well, I got bagged even on my own page about the Chinese.
You get bagged all the time. You're used to it.
True. And if you want to buy Chinese stuff, go right ahead.
So this is not a Chinese reel.
No.
This is not something.
There's nothing Chinese about it at all.
No.
Even the bearings are Japanese. The rest is all Australian.
So Shane makes the shafts, he makes the discs, buys the blades, but they get installed.
Yeah, I buy the blades which are made. Yeah, the blades are made in South Australia.
In South Australia.
So it's no secret where they're made.
Yeah.
So they're all Australian, but there's a couple of things that are different with mine, and that is after a lot of experimenting.
You've refined these quite a bit over the years, haven't you?
Drove me nuts. I run a 1-inch shaft, 4mm discs.
Yeah.
I think other people run 4mm discs.
And they're laser cut discs, I think.
Laser cut, yeah. The shaft is 4140. The blades are what they are, and then the way it's put together and set up is you've got no idea that each piece of shaft, 4140, how one crook blade that's not quite matched to
There's
the
a lot
others.
of geometry going on here.
There is, and that influences the thing to the extent where it bends the shaft.
Yeah.
And I see it straight away.
Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, I see it in the machine. I run the machine and like watch it spin around before I do anything to it. So if that happens, what I do is I locate the offending blade, pull it out and replace it, right? Or manipulate that blade so that it goes in there and doesn't influence the shaft.
Yeah.
Then once you've got it to that stage and you've got it all wrapped up ready to weld, right? Then you've got to put it on the welding beam. Then you've got to sequence weld it. Because you just can't go and start one end and finish up
because
the
of
other.
the heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got to distribute the heat evenly, and I experimented a lot with that till I come up with what keeps the thing straight. You know, and I mean, there's a plus or minus there. There's that much welding going on in a fabricated item. It's very hard to keep the thing straight. So I come up with what to me is the best way that I do it, because I TIG weld that MIG weld. You know, I can MIG weld, I wouldn't MIG weld one of these. And then once it goes there, I then weld the shaft to the discs. That's got to be done in sequence.
So you do the blades first and then the discs.
Yeah.
Wherever they end up on the shaft, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And yeah, that's the sequence I use. Tried other ways, but this was the best way. And then once I get to that stage, then I'll put it in the manual machine and run it and check it for run out. If it's got run out, it then goes in there in the press.
Right.
And I will then dial indicate it and I'll push it around till I get it as straight as you can possibly get the thing.
And what are you bending there? The shaft? Basically.
Shaft,
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're V-blocking each bearing journal, and you're putting pressure on the shaft to push it back in
Get it
shape.
back the
And
way
you'd be surprised how easy it is.
Yeah.
Because it's changed from being straight.
Yeah.
Steel's got a memory. It knows where it was. It knows where it wants to go. It just needs a bit of help.
It's funny, even with a 1-inch shaft, that's amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
Because the standard reel is a 3/4 shaft. I went to 7/8 till they kill it, inch, and we're still, you've got to be careful. But you know, this works. Once that's done, then it goes in a manual machine, and then I'll rough it out. So with a certain radius, nose radius insert, I'll rough it out. No grinding.
So we're talking about the lathe here,
lathe,
rather than a
no grinding. And with the way I do it, you're cutting the material. With a grinder, what happens when you grind a bit of steel? What do you see? Sparks.
Heat.
Sparks and heat.
Yeah.
Right? So you're starting to affect the blade for a start.
The cutting edge in particular, isn't it?
Yeah. So what the lathe does, it cuts the material off. No heat, and the inserts and the speed and the feed is just a headache. Once you get that right, then it all starts to come together. So I rough it out and then I check it end for end and make sure it's within tolerance there, because I don't know about these grinding machines. I can only say...
you don't have a grinding machine?
No. They're either junk or people don't know how to set them up. Because people bring me a ground reel, right? And you've got a mil taper or more.
It's like a banana or something.
Well, no, that end's smaller than that end.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? So how they've set it up or whatever, I don't know. And, you know, the machine's probably not junk, might be operated, don't know. But once that takes place, I then put a very small rebate on the back edge, so relief, right, on the back edge, and that's by hand, right? And then they go to prime, go to powder coat. This one's powder coated. Go to powder coat or paint. Then they come back here, and then I do the final cut, changing those radius on the insert, and then I do the final cut at the normal feed rate, and then measure it, make sure it's right. Then I slow the feed rate right down, and I do the final pass with a brand new insert, and I reuse that insert on when I finish roughing out. Sometimes I'll run to use that insert up. I'll use it as a finished roughing insert. Yeah. Right. So I use a brand new tip of the insert, I should say, of which is only 6 on each insert, $30 or something an insert, to get that chrome mirror finish, which you don't get with a grinder.
I'll try and get in here with the camera in a minute and get a close-up of this, but you know, in the other videos you've seen it. It is, you can't see tool marks on there unless you look really, really closely. It's completely different to your ground finish.
There's not actually tool marks on it, it's a light difference. Right. You know what I mean? You'll actually see in some places you'll get the rainbow colour. Yeah. When I'm doing it on the lathe, you'll see that rainbow colour come through, which is really nice. Yeah. But they're you know, I think it's with the way I get the sole plates ground, the two married together with the canted blade effect. Yep. You can see with this one here, direction of rotation is that direction of rotation is that way. Yep. So clockwise, and you'll see the blades canted that way. So that's like a leading and trailing edge on a brake shoe of a car. Yeah. That's how I come up with that idea. And I'm not saying it hasn't been done before. And there was a bit of a controversy on my Facebook page and blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying I invented that, but I sat back and thought to come up with a better way to do it. And I looked as the same as I did with the groomer. The way the grooming reel, when I was working on sizer shafts that chew up big hunks of rock in the mining industry, it's the same principle I applied to that. And this way here, it acts like a leading and trailing edge of a brake shoe. Yeah. And then if you put the right rake on the bed knife, right, the two complement each other. Because if you like that with a sole plate, as it wears, the surface area, contact area becomes wider and wider. With the way I do it, the contact area remains the same, almost the same, for a long time. Yeah. So that's why I say they stay sharper longer. Right. Okay. You know, and people come to me, I've had mowers here 3 years, I've not seen them, and they're mowing their lawn mad, you know, and I mean my mower's around the corner there, and that reel came out for the 3rd time in I think 3 or 4 years. You know, it only came out because I wanted to put the ratio in it to test it. So I had it apart, and I might as well put the lathe and just sharpen at the same time. And
so, you don't sharpen
I get them
the
done.
bed knives, but you do get them done, but you get them done to your specification for that.
Well, it's not really my specification. The guy that does these, right, is the biggest mower shop around here, this side of Perth. His dad owned a very prominent shop in Perth, and in talking to him, his dad told him about the way he reckons it should be, and he told me, and I went away with that and went, well, if I cant the blade, I can really complement this and make this work even better. So that's not my idea.
It's a bit of a collaborative.
That was his idea, but that's the only way that he does them. Yeah, cool. So if Joe Bloggs goes and gets their bed knife done there, they'll get them done the same way as I get them done, right? Because that's their standard, that's the way they do it. And not many other people, I get them here all the time, and I get them,
just redo them.
Mower shops, I don't know what's in their head. They don't really want to do them. Mower shops, in all honesty, this guy down here, West Coast Power Equipment, you know, they're probably, you know, one of the few real mower shops that still do stuff a bit old school. A lot of the other mower shops, all I want to do is sell you a new mower. They don't want to fix one of these things.
No, of course
Yeah?
not.
And you give them a diplomat, and they'll throw it in the bin. And that's a shame. That's where a lot of them went.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a real story. And I have, I sell a lot of them. I don't know how many hundred I've sold of them. I've not had one person ever come back to me and say, well, this is a piece of junk. I've had people, Chinese reels, coming here wanting to trade them in on one of mine because they're not happy with them. So,
side story. I had an interesting comment on a previous video when one of Shane's reels was mounted in the lathe with the cutter going. It was grinding at some point of the process. Can't remember, but there was the comment was regarding the possibility of one of the blades flying out while it's spinning on the lathe. From my point of view, there are, depending on the width of the reel, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 discs in there holding each blade. They've all been welded individually. Unlikely to happen.
well, the rule of thumb there, Michael, in welding world, is an inch of weld will hold a ton.
Well, yeah.
And there's no possible way. Put it this way, I've had a few little altercations.
You've had some little oopsies.
Yeah, a few little oopsies, and that is when I do the roughing, I don't necessarily do that on the back bearing, right? I do that on the centre, and that's as accurate as a bearing, really. This fallacy of, oh, you've got to grind it on the bearings. If the shaft is made correctly on a quality CNC machine, there's no difference on the journal diameter and where you put the centre, right? But people dream on, I do them on the bearing, on the final cut, and
you're not taking off a lot of material
no,
at that point, especially.
I'm only taking off with an old finishing insert. I'll run one 5/10 cut, right? Just to make sure it's true. After I've done everything to it, particularly it's been powder coated because it's been heated up. This has been heated up quite hot. So I'll just run one 5/10 cut, make sure it's okay, measure it in for inch. Got to be within my tolerances, which is 0.005, right? Is where I like that to be each end, and then I'll put the brand new either turn the insert or flip it upside down for a brand new tip, and then I'll slow the machine down, not in speed, in feed rate, and I'll run the final pass on it, and I'll take 2 thou off it. Now, if you take less than that, it's harder on the insert because the insert needs a little bit of pressure to cut.
Makes sense.
And what happens, the insert will then start to rub and not cut, and you don't get to finish. So I take 2 thou off, no more than that, so you get no pushback in the middle of the reel because you're pushing something and you're going to get pushback. So with a grinder,
deflection or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know with their grinding stuff. I've never, I tried tool post grinding on the lathe, and I got nowhere near the result. It's easy for me to tool post grind, although I couldn't stand the mess and the crack.
This is a very considered decision that Shane's made to do these on the lathe with the inserts rather than grinding. I think
Yes,
and something that you spent a lot of time investigating. And
well, you've got to run the machine in reverse too. I'm not giving too much away, but you've got to. I made up my own tool holder, do everything in reverse because you will kick up a little bit of a burr, and you want that on the relief side, not on the cutting edge. So you've got to run the machine. So there's a lot of experimenting. Look, other guys do it. I see it on pages all the time. They put it in the lathe and do it. And for most people, they're probably comfortable with that. The difference between me is my reels aren't cheap. So I've got to give people something that's better than what I believe is out there.
Fair enough.
And the same as bent reels. What happens? I've got a customer of mine who's actually my niece's husband, and his reel continuously wears the bent knife in the middle. So there's very little wear on the outside, and there's a that much wear on the middle of the reel. and it creates a real problem for him.
Yeah.
So the reason it does that is when I put the reel in the lathe, it's one of the most bent reels I've ever seen. It's like this.
Yeah.
The shaft is probably
Skipping rope.
4 mil bent.
Yeah.
Now the outside is true
Yeah.
because you machine on the lathe.
Yeah.
But what happens with the weight and the speed, it starts to become an eccentric. And it was right in the middle of the reel. So it's throwing the reel out, it's deflecting
Yep.
in the middle as it's rotating.
Yeah.
And that's what wears his reel out.
Yeah.
Because his other machine, right, with a good reel in it, doesn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And
That's fascinating stuff. Like I'm looking at this reel and just thinking, oh my god, the helix or whatever you want to call it, the geometry is like insane. But then to think of it actually in motion and everything else that's happening from a physics perspective with the thing, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it does my head in. So I'll leave that one to you, Shane.
yeah, I mean, yeah, this is where engineering comes into it. And this is where people mess with things that they don't necessarily understand. But
Yeah.
it's one of those things, these aren't the easiest things to make. They're probably the hardest thing that I make to get them right. To send them out with a supported video of the thing cutting paper without contact.
Yeah.
I got a lot of flack over that. So there,
You can cut your fingers a lot.
I've never told anybody that that's the way they put it in their mower. I demonstrate that to people to prove to them
That it's
that
sharp.
this thing will cut without contact.
Yeah.
When you put it in the reel, when you put the reel in the machine, you want that to have very light contact.
Yeah.
That's the self-sharpening,
Yeah.
self-cleaning aspect of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And people twist that and go, oh, that, you know, why do you promote that? That's wrong and blah, blah, blah. This is, you know, cutting without contact. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just, anyway. They're all engineers in their own lunchtime. Right?
Yeah.
But,
Guilty.
yeah, moving on to the reduction drive, I reckon that's something that needed to be done years ago.
So what's wrong with just feathering the clutch? Because that's
Well,
always been the
that-
answer.
that's-
My mower's too fast. I'm chasing after it. I mean, the first time I tried a Scott Bonnar 45, I was like, whoa!
Yeah, take it off.
And you need to learn how to feather the clutch. And the clutch corks are what, disposable or what's the word for it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. What happens? Why a clutch cork fails is one, it ages naturally.
Yeah, just
right?
degrades.
And, and the oil gets out of the cork and what have you, and
Yeah.
and it's buggered. But what accelerates that is additional heat you're putting in by slipping the clutch. And go do it in your car. You slip the clutch in your motor car,
You've got a problem.
you've got a problem. So, you know, some body on my page goes, oh yeah, but didn't you know that's what the clutch is for, to feather the clutch? And that person's been in the game a long time. I mean, that really shows their competence. It's not about feathering the clutch. What I wanted to achieve, right, was locking the clutch up, so you've got 100% lock up on the clutch. Yep.
Fully clamped down on the.
Yep,
the
and
clutch.
you don't run behind the machine.
Yeah.
Now, I will, because this is our last video, and everybody can nail me, I don't give a hoot. If there's anybody that knows anything about clutches,
Sorry for platforming him, but yeah, go ahead, Shane.
if anybody knows anything about clutches, I'm telling you now, I do. And that comes from my drag racing days when it's not the car, it's not the engine, right? Drag racing is won in the bell housing.
You're right.
In pro stock. Forget about the other stuff and automatics. And in pro stock, which is stick manual, right, which is what I had, it's won or lost in the bell housing. Now, I raced people that were wealthier by a long shot than me. They had 2 of everything or more. I had 1 of everything. That's all I could afford. Mind you, I invested in the best that I could buy. I had the least horsepower with the smallest engine, but a very good car, and invested, you know, like $12,000 in the clutch, all titanium, the latest and greatest, right? That's okay to have that, but then you've got to learn how to use it, right? I was the fastest car in B-gas, which is just a class, nothing to do with gas, but B-gas in this country for years. And the guys over east used to come over here at the Western Nationals to nail me. And they come close, but they never did. And it was all in the clutch. You know, my race car, current, not owned by me race car, has just gone recently faster than I ever did in the car. I talked to this guy, basically I crew chief the car from here, right, in the clutch.
I didn't realise you were still doing that.
Yeah, in the clutch.
I know you'd sold it, but
yeah,
you're still involved.
Yeah, oh yeah. In the clutch tune-up and getting the car down the racetrack safely, because he did go over in it, so initially. And I went 52 in that car, so I went 752 at 181 mile an hour. He went not long ago, a month ago, 6 weeks ago, I think in South Australia in their new track, I think he went 45 or 47 in that car. And we knew that the car could do it because the data we gather from the car tells you the perfect scenario, and we knew that the combination could do it, but getting it there was the issue. And the guy that owned it made a lot of fatal mistakes with the clutch setup, and we sorted all that out, and we do lots of little tricks in this clutch setup. I'm telling you now, it sounds simple, but it's very, very complicated. So when it comes to this little clunky bit of cork and a cone, trust me, this is nothing to what I've dealt with. And
that's fascinating.
my car, you know, it would run 102 to 60 foot, and I still don't think today in BAP, where the car runs now in that class, that you've got a car there, a stick car, right, under 350 cubes that'll run anything like that to the 60 foot. At 102, that's where I won a lot of races, because I was gone, they had more power, and they're coming at me at half track, and they run out of track to catch me. And that was all in the chassis tune-up, but the biggest thing was the clutch. You know, we worked I had two girls in my racing team. We're getting a bit off the beaten track here, but I had two girls in my racing team.
I was just thinking, it's a lawn channel. Sometimes we talk about guitars.
Let's
talk about racing.
We'll launch the mower. But one of these girls' primary function was to download the information straight after a run and put it in the big screen in my transporter truck, right? And I would look at one thing first. So I had one of my guys in pulling all the covers off to get to the clutch and cool the clutch down. So he's inside the car, all the tools, someone's passing him everything, he doesn't get out of the car, right? He just stays there and waits for me to tell him what to do, right? I look at the data, right? And the first lot of data that I wanted to look at was what that car ran to quarter of a second, half a second, and 3/4 of a second into that run. That's what we're playing with, not a second, right? So the first critical, the first critical time was quarter of a second into the run. We needed 1800 RPM rear wheel speed, right? That told us where the clutch was. Then at half a second into the run, we needed 2200. 2300, 2400, somewhere around there, probably closer to 2200, 2300. And at 3/4 of a second, right, we need 2800 RPM wheel speed. If we had that wheel speed, right, the car went hard. If we didn't have that wheel speed, the clutch tune-up wasn't right, and we had a problem when we had to adjust around that. So take that technology, which sort of goes above your head, right, and put it into this thing here, and this thing here. That's what you're doing. You're manipulating the clutch, and you're hurting the clutch, and it's not necessarily conducive to nice mowing, is it? Because you go over a little bit of a bump or something happens, your hand moves, so the mower's coming on and off, the front's going up and down a little bit like this.
It does sort of...
With this,
not
with this mower, but my mower, my 10 blade select, you grab that lever, pull it in, you just walk behind it. And
so it's not as much of a comfortable walking pace thing. It's also the everything else, the cutting quality.
Because now you can get the real speed up. Whereas to stop feathering the clutch, the only way you can do that is slow the engine down. And what does that do? Slows the real speed down. So that's what you don't want. You want to increase your clip rate by increasing the real speed and slow the ground speed down. Now,
it's all connected, isn't it?
It is. One thing we neglect is females. I've dealt over my time with a lot of females. I looked after their mowers, right? And one of the things they always said to me is, I've got to run after this bloody lawnmower, or they're idling, cutting the lawn, which is what most of them would do. So a very good friend of mine, ex-drag racer, Vic, very, very intelligent man, has built quite a few mowers, and his girl complained about having run behind the mower. So I don't know what their status is, but she's obviously got her own property, mows her own lawn, right? So she's got to run behind his mower. So when I first released these things, Vic was one of the first people to ring me. He said, you know, I've been going to do this because he's very creative. He's a lot like me.
He's going to do it himself, was he?
Oh, he thinks that, oh, he can. You want to see the stuff he's done.
Yeah.
He's the guy behind the motorised eskies.
All right.
You know, that you take to car racing and stuff. He's very creative, very innovative. He said, I've been going to do that for ages, but send me two. I want one for Tina's mower, I want one for mine. So he only contacted me the other day and said, we finally got weather where she could go out and mow the lawn, and mate, she's wrapped. She no longer has to run behind the mower, throttle up, and it's got a big engine on. I think Vic's put as drag racers do, I think he put a 5 horsepower on it or 6 horsepower engine on the thing. Electric start for it, no pulling to key start.
It's all right for some.
Yeah, got all the gear. And she's chuffed with this thing. So it's something that was, I don't know why someone never did it.
Well, I'd never thought about it. Like, you know, probably for the kids as well who are mowing, you know, with dad's mower or mum's mower. But also, you know, I'm not the tallest bod in the world, so, you know, maybe shorter legs and stuff. Maybe it could be quite helpful, actually.
Well, we measured the Scott Bonnar and researching it. Scotty that works with me, he's an engineer.
Yeah.
Went through all that protocol, and you know, I think we came up with 12 and a half kilometres flat out. So run your Scott Bonnar hard, pull that throttle up, you're doing 12 and a half kilometres out.
Yeah.
You know what walking speed is?
3?
Under 5.
5? Yeah.
Under 5. That depends.
I'm a a leisurely kind of stroller sort of person.
Yeah, it depends on the individual.
Much to my wife's disappointment, but anyway.
Yeah. So let's say 4.5 to 5, given different sort of people. So you've got your mower going 12 and a half kilometres down the lawn. So we've slowed it down now to a couple of options. One option is proving difficult because it's very hard to buy the sprocket that we need, and that goes measured at 5.1, and then we go 5.3.
Yeah.
Now you can say there's not a lot of difference. You do notice difference, but the 5.3 probably suits most people, and it's a little bit cheaper because that sprocket's more readily available.
Right.
But boy, I've mowed my lawn probably, I don't know, since I did it 20 times or something, and like, well, not that many, it's been raining, but 10 times. It's just great. You pull the clutch, you just walk behind the machine. Yeah, and it's really, it's where they should have been in the start, but it is what it is. Yeah. But to say, oh, you just feather the clutch is that's treating a symptom and not the cause.
Fair enough.
And I'm a big treat the cause of the problem.
You are.
The symptom goes away.
Yeah, fair enough. I think it was a pretty good chat, actually, Shane. We covered a lot of ground today.
We got a bit carried away. But,
I might let's wrap it up, I reckon. I did post a couple of weeks ago just about winding back some of the Love Larn, I think it was a website I was talking about specifically, just because I'm not making calendars in anymore, that sort of stuff anymore, selling merch, you know, just trying to simplify things. Still here making videos when the urge strikes. I think for me, the you know, it's a time constraint thing more than anything. I don't know if I've ever really mentioned it on the channel, but I was a stay-at-home dad when I started the channel, and you know, had a bit of time when the kids were napping and all that sort of stuff, and you know, back to work, still part-time, but you know, still back to work, and it's you know, less time to spare on making lawn videos and mower videos, but yeah, still hoping to keep the channel going, and you know, won't be taking any videos down, so that'll all be there as a resource for anyone who wants to, you know, review the whole sort of rebuild series or teardown series.
So many people, Michael, I said to you earlier, so many people come here, so they're local people, and I talked on the phone, comment on about, when are you making another video? Oh, I just watched it the other day. Oh, I've watched it 6 times. And you know, it's been a big thing. And I think you were about the first to do it. There's people now, you know, people don't like the copying word, what could you say? They're doing it as well, for a nicer way of putting it. But I think, you know, you were probably the original that took it on board. I think with the new owners of Moteck. I'm hoping that that continues.
Yeah.
If not, I might still do the collaboration with you with the journey of the new one.
Yeah.
If that in fact takes place, and I think it will. It's just a bit of a journey for the new guys.
Yeah.
But we're going to close off shortly. But I would just like to extend my thanks to all the people out there that have been a part of Moteck and made Moteck what it became. Put up with my ranting and raving, especially when it comes to drag racing clutches. It's been a great journey. It's been really good. I miss the CNCs. I had so much more to do. There is so much more to do.
Get it down on paper at the very least.
Yeah.
Hand it off to Wayne. And
yeah, that's it. And I'll keep involved for as long as those guys want me to be involved in a much lesser, hands-on. I'm still making frames for them, handlebars and reels at the moment till they get up to speed, and then they'll take that over. And I want to spend more time on this new machine and get that up and running, because I think that would be really good. This one here has been on the go for a long time, and I wanted to go out with this machine. That's what
good way to finish up.
Yeah, it was sort of, when I decided, well, I'm going to join the bandwagon and do a theme mower, but what will I do? And then it was like,
It's the only option, Shane, be honest.
my affection for Van Halen and all that he did with music, and the guitars and the striping, and just one more fact check. Can I do just one more? One of the most recognised paint schemes in the world is this.
Yeah.
So in other words, they did surveys and presented a piece of paper or whatever to people and said, you recognise this? They go, oh yeah, Van Halen. Oh yeah, guitars. And that's amazing to find. It's like in the top 6 or something or less most recognised paint schemes in the world. So I had to do it, so I've done it.
Now it's on a lawnmower.
And now it's a Van Halen lawnmower, whether there's a cut lawn or not, I know it will, can, but whether it will or not. But that's my out from here. This was Moteck Central.
Yeah, it was.
Now
it all happened here, didn't it?
It all happened here. Moteck Central is now down the road, and I'm sure it's going to become bigger and stronger. They've got the resources to propel it to where I could never take it.
Which is great, isn't it?
It is, because I, as you've made known, I've not had the room. I needed to move into an additional machine. I needed a 4x CNC milling machine. There's no way you get one of them in here. Yeah. So those guys have got one. They can take this to where I never could, and that's going to be a good thing for Moteck.
Well, we were talking earlier as well off camera about sort of me doing Larn on my own, Shane doing Moteck on his own, maybe with Scotty's help and a few other odds and sods around the place. But it's always sort of been dependent on us as individuals to push forward with the stuff that we do. So with more means, a larger sort of facility, a future vision beyond retirement for the guys, that's this means that Shane's contribution to the world of Scott Bonnar, I'll say generally, or Moteck, really gets to continue, even though Shane's sort of winding back a bit. So that's awesome, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately time caught up with me. The heart attack was a wake-up call, all that sort of stuff. So it's time to take the pressure off. And one thing I really enjoy is not coming out here and firing up, particularly a 6-axis machine, and trying to create something new. But I really don't miss the paperwork. Because when I finish out here at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, I'd go in and do orders and send out accounts, and I'm up to 10 and 11 o'clock at night doing that stuff every night.
Pushing paper.
Yeah, and I can leave here now, and I can go in there and I can go,
pick up your guitar.
Well, yeah, hit the drums, I like hitting things. I can just sit there and watch TV for watch footy.
Living the life, huh?
Well, I wouldn't say living the life, but...
well, I do want to say, just maybe on behalf of the whole community, thank you, Shane, for everything that you've contributed to making our hobbies and our passions viable over the last, since you started, really, probably close on a decade now.
Yeah.
And, making these videos together has been a lot of fun as well. So, thanks for being as engaged with the channel as you have been, and with the community. So it's been my absolute pleasure coming down here to do this with you. It's been loads and loads of fun.
Yeah, no, thanks, Michael, for those words. And yeah, look, the community it's bigger than Ben Hur. It's certainly not slowing down.
No, it's awesome. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, they're always being found. There's more people coming into it. I wished I'd got into it 30 or 40 years ago.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I'm happy with what I've done. There's a lot more to do. Hopefully I'll play a small role in it and a small part in it.
Yeah, I hope so too.
To all my customers that have supported me, and I've got many repeat customers all over the world. New Zealand, Tasmania, a couple from Canberra, none from the Northern Territory, or maybe one I think from Northern Territory. But all over the country, I've had contacts from Germany,
I was going to say Germany,
Sweden, another one, and
US
whether something eventuates out of all that will be up to the new guys. But thank you to all my customers. It's been a great journey, a great ride. For those people that have bought products off me, particularly rear rollers, what have you, you've got something special that no one else has got, no one else has.
You're very lucky.
Yeah,
you're very lucky. If you got one of Shane's reels, rollers, frames, like, you've done well for yourselves, guys. So.
Yeah, and the quality, all that stuff will keep up with the new guys. They're keen to get into it. There've been a few hiccups with power and getting machines up and running as you do, but all that's happening. So if you've got orders in with Moteck, just bear with those guys. They're doing the best they can. It's a big transition for them, and I'm trying to help as much as I can without missing the footy for a change and all that sort of stuff. But thank you too, Michael, for all your help. The channel's been great. I've given you my opinion on the channel. I reckon you should get into it a bit more.
It's just the time.
Yeah, it is. The time gets away.
Two young kids work.
Yeah. But things will change as kids get older,
yeah.
and all that sort of stuff. But it's been great. Been great having you down here. The dogs think you're wonderful. Harper.
Have you heard them?
Harper snuck in.
One of them down here.
She's the maniac. But thank you. It's been great ride. And
you're most welcome. I was going to say
we'll do this again.
We will, and for that reason, don't forget to subscribe, hit like, of course, just to help me out. But also, there is, we've got tons of videos from the past, 5 years or something like that, sort of covering, everything that you see here and more that are, in my opinion, some pretty interesting videos and worth watching.
People go back to them all the time.
And of course, there's as I mentioned, the teardown series, the rebuild series that I've put together, way back in the distant past as well. So they're probably getting a little bit long in the tooth. But if you're looking for specifics as to how to do something, you might find the odd nugget of utility. There's probably some horrible thoughts and ideas that I've put out there as well. But anyway, the crux of it's probably all right. So as I said, not going anywhere. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Really appreciate that. And go back and watch some of the vids that we've done in the past, and see what strikes your fancy, because there's quite a lot of stuff there that's good fun.
And the good news is Michael's leaving with a handful of parts to finish the community groomer.
We don't talk about that, but yes, for those of you who aren't aware, I put together a teaser video. It was pre-COVID, about a community build, which was meant to be inspired by you guys in terms of the direction. And guys like Shane and George and a few others sort of contributing parts for the rebuild, and COVID got in the way. I'm just making excuses, of course. So COVID got in the way, went back to work. That didn't help. I was waiting for Shane to get his CNC program together for his clutch cone, because I really wanted a Moteck clutch cone on the machine, and it's been a long time coming. So I think we've got some handlebars and we've got a clutch cone, and I just need to get some paint on the thing, and then it's time to assemble and do some videos. So at some point in the hopefully not too distant future, that will happen, and the community build will be complete, and everyone can stop asking me, "Hey, what happened with that community build?"
Well, it won't be due to lack of parts now, Michael. So there's no excuses.
Nah. So I've had a lot of fun collecting parts over the years, and thinking about this one, but I need to clear out the space in my garage right now, because it's driving me insane. So maybe that's the future direction of the channel for the time being, we will say, and we'll catch you for the next one, everyone. But again, Shane, thanks very much.
Thank you, Michael.
for everything, and you'll no doubt see Shane again on the channel. And I think we'll wrap it up there. It's probably been a long one, but yeah. Keep tabs, guys. Thanks for watching as always, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks again, guys. Take care.